ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold?
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Watch the show live on Facebook
and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors, new week, Monday, June 16th edition of the program. Glad to be back with you as we roll into mid-June College World Series. Continuing, we'll get into that as Coastal Carolina continues to march on, and they're one game away from advancing to the College World Series semifinals. We also will talk about some things happening in Major League Baseball with our crew today, and then also a big recruiting weekend for East Carolina. With June comes a swell of commitments across the country, which we will get into here shortly. The Pirates have gotten their first 3 pledges in the 2026 class, and hint, hint, more on the way. You can check out that inside information on hoistthecolors.net. I'll run through some of the names as well that have already announced their pledge to the Pirates 2026 class. And then I also threw out a prompt over the weekend, Sunday nights. What is the most anticipated game on the ECU 2025 football schedule in your opinion, and why? We'll read some of those best responses. We'll also get the take of our top 5 most games we're looking forward to, most anticipated games with our panel today. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, X. Drop a comment. We'll get to that over the course of the next hour. All right, let's introduce today's crew. You guys know Philip Pilkington. He's here almost every day, except for when he's in wedding season, which seems to be happening a lot lately. Philip, how's it going?
It's good. I'm excited, and I don't know if you just saw this, Igo, because we were just now signing on, but 3 Pirate baseball players have also announced that they will be returning for the 2026 season.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you name them without pulling it up?
Michael Kalinich, Gabe Beschloss, and oh, dang it.
D-Lo.
Yeah, I knew it was another pitcher.
Real missed opportunity, by the way, to go chest pat video with Kalinich's return, but they just went with the graphics. So glad to see those guys back. We'll talk about that as well. We've got Joe Sampson, his New York Yankees fresh off a sweep, not in the good way, in the bad way, at the hands of Phillips Boston Red Sox. We also got to get into the Rafael Devers trade as well. But Joe, how you doing on this fine Monday?
I'm doing great on this fine Monday. You know, a lot of people wanted to talk to me about the Yankees being pretenders instead of contenders, and my response to that is I have never once had a season as a Yankees fan where I cared about the record in June, and neither has Brian Cashman, and we've been here for 25 years to do such a thing. Even when the Yankees had the best start to an MLB franchise in the last 50 years, I think it was some 2 or 3 years ago when we had like 40 wins, everybody was like, well, they're going to fall apart anyway. So it doesn't matter what you do in June. It matters what you do in September to lead to October. So we'll see where we shake out after that.
All right, we do have a comment from Terry Long. He says, Igo, the ECU baseball account really came at you by proceeding to do a post for every ECU player returning. I was kind of joking, like, where does it all end? Where does it stop? Apparently, Phil, it doesn't stop. We're just going to keep getting these returns. I really want to know what they're going to do with Antolik and Ryan Towers, who obviously transferred in, did not play due to injury. You had guys who redshirted as well, like David Lillis. He's doing well for the Yard Gnomes. Like, do we get those guys? I don't know when. I guess again, I'm going to ask, when does it stop?
It stops with the coaching staff. I do not believe we will be seeing a Cliff Godwin graphic posted that he will be returning. But if
that's what we need,
it happened with surprise. Like I said, man, Sean Phillips does a great job, and he's got to have something to do in the offseason, man. He can't just like hang out and do nothing. He's a hardworking guy.
They need to call on him to help for these official visit photo shoots, which he may be doing. I don't know, but a Jeff Palumbo run it back graphic would be kind of sweet, to be honest. He's done it 11 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, heck, there's a lot of open jobs out there, you know.
This is true.
Why not? You know, people are speculating, so let's get that run. If you're listening, Sean, we need to get that Jeff Palumbo run it back graphic. Terry Long says Cliff reads the boards and listens to the show. He might. Hopefully, he's recruiting some Portal Pirates as well. All right, let's do a recruiting rundown, gentlemen. I will kind of provide a quick briefer here as Pirates are coming off a big official visit weekend. This was the first official visit weekend ECU's 2026 class has really had. Now, to give you some idea of how this all works is June and the end of May is an open recruiting period, and then it goes dead at the end of June through July. So a lot of the commitments or a lot of the visits are going to happen right now. And this coming weekend, they'll have another batch of visits in before the dead period. But essentially what you're seeing is a lot of official visits going on across the country. Top targets are figuring out where they want to go. East Carolina hosted double-digit official visitors this past weekend. 3 of those have announced their decisions. Those gentlemen are Taronde Spencer from Richmond High School in Rockingham, also the home of J.D. Lampley. You guys know him well. And Pirates had another walk-on lineman as well who actually hosted Spencer on his visit. So he is a 3-star edge rusher, outside linebacker player, 6'3", 235, had an offer from North Carolina, also heavily considered Charlotte and App at one point. So rated the 23rd best player in the state of North Carolina. Really good pickup. These next 2 guys who have announced: Preston Broadway from Metrolina Christian Academy in the Charlotte area, technically in Indian Trail, North Carolina, 6'3", 270, projects as an interior lineman, same high school as Peyton Reeder, who is a freshman, true freshman, who delayed his enrollment, also from Metrolina Christian, so played a big role in recruiting him. Offensive lineman. Then your third commitment is Kelton Smith, and this is a guy who is fascinating. 6'4", 310. There was a picture of Kelton Smith standing next to Xavier McIver. Xavier McIver is a 5th year, maybe even a 6th year senior at this point. I can't even keep track. Joe Mike can help me out there. But he makes Xavier McIver look tiny. Kelton Smith is in high school, and this is a guy who played 8-man football, just made the move to Gaffney, South Carolina, which ECU has a lot of ties with on its staff now. And he commits kind of an under the radar. But anytime you're adding a guy who's 6'4", 310, and just has room to grow, I don't know how much more he's going to grow, but he looks massive. Kind of a raw prospect, but a guy with immense size. And then a couple other names to keep an eye on who have not announced yet, but I feel good about with ECU right now. I've talked with Markel Taylor, a safety out of the Atlanta area in Georgia. He's visiting Cincinnati this coming weekend. I would say it's ECU and Cincinnati kind of in the mix there. You also have Chad Fairchild, a linebacker out of the Atlanta area. Feel really good about. He's announcing in the coming days. And then another name to keep an eye on, Zion Ratchford, also out of Gaffney, as well as Joshua Singleton, offensive lineman out of Florida. So there's kind of your recruiting update. Again, 50% off now on hoistthecolors.net. You can get more information there on the VIP front. A lot of interviews coming your way after the official visit weekend. So my question to you, Joe, is with this recruiting, we know back even when you were getting recruited, a lot of this was done later in the fall. I mean, obviously you had camps in the summer, that sort of stuff. But it's been trending towards getting a lot of this recruiting done in June now. And talking with some sources at ECU, they kind of want to go to almost a 15-man class for high school and then save the rest for the portal. ECU under Mike Houston was recruiting more 20 to 25 guys out of high school, and we saw too much turnover, I would say, after a year or two. So do you feel like that 15 number is about right, or maybe does it depend year to year?
I think it depends year to year. It's probably plus or minus a couple guys. You might see an 18 class in some of these years. You might see a 13 class. But that's because, the talent coming out of it doesn't change. But some of these guys may choose to go a different route now. They may go a JUCO route for 2 years because they know if they do that, they can go to a higher program. They may try and do some things where they can go play early because it's a stepping stool program like a Sam Houston, like a Toledo, like a Ohio, those kinds of schools that are smaller as far as stature and TV contracts, but still play good, meaningful football where you can get an opportunity to move up. And I think ECU is in a similar kind of spot as far as that goes. I think especially considering the changes to the American in the last couple of years and the TV contracts and what teams moved up to the Big 12 that were comparable in talent, but now obviously are different conversations for NIL, you're going to see that. There's going to be some people who maybe are a little more lenient or a little more hesitant to go and recruit those high school guys because they have $750 million like SMU for some reason and can go recruit guys straight out of the portal and not worry about high school. And I think ECU is going to have to find their own kind of footing and be in that middle area like we talked about. And the rest will be portal guys. You'll get a receiver who's unhappy at Mizzou. You'll get a cornerback who doesn't want to be at UCLA anymore. And those are the guys you're going to kind of have to shift your mindset towards, but you still have to develop talent.
Yeah, and talking with Taronde Spencer, he said he was hosted by a second-year redshirt freshman defensive lineman, Jacoby Martin, who also played at Richmond. And interesting to me that they're in like Cole Hodge. He recruited or he hosted a fellow quarterback recruit. What do you remember? I don't know if you ever hosted anybody firsthand, Joe, but I'm sure you like hung out with guys on official visits. Like I always am curious how much truth is being shared, because like your job as a player is to obviously recruit them. But like, was there ever a case of a guy who maybe was a host who like ended up not even really liking the school and they tell the guy not to go there? Like, I don't know. You just would think that would happen every now and then with some of this stuff.
I mean, you'd think, right? But these coaches also have a pulse on that, and they have a feel.
Right.
This guy loves ECU. This guy doesn't love ECU. This guy might be transferring. So they used to send him to me to talk it up. I love ECU. I still love ECU. So that was always the conversation. They're like, if a walk-on like this is getting the dog mess beat out of him all summer and is coming back with a smile on his face, he must love this place. So they used to send me some of the guys, and I'd talk to him. But I'd be candid. I'd be like, look, there are certain coaches on this staff who are going to love you up a little bit different than some other ones. The coach right now that is in your Twitter DMs or talking to you on the phone is not the football coach you're going to get in the dog days of camp. And I wanted to make sure I was honest with that. I'm always honest to everybody I know. I don't necessarily think it's I don't like this school or I don't love this. There have been conversations where somebody's like, yeah, the position coach isn't exactly who you think he is, or he doesn't carry himself this way, or sometimes it feels a little different as far as in the team room versus in the meeting room. And those are conversations you have to have. But also, these guys are 17, 18 years old. There's a lot of things on their mind besides just the football aspect, and you want to convey that as well.
And I mean, you want to show them a good time, right, Joe? Now my question is now
legally
the Hatchet place is now the Hatchet place is closed down. I want to know where they take these guys. I guess everybody visits Subdogs. That's like a must. I don't know. Did you ever take them anywhere crazy?
Crazy? No. I mean, Subdogs is always a spot. We're always good friends with the people of Pantana Bob's. Shout out Pantana Bob's. My jersey's still hanging in the walkway, so got to give them the free shout out.
Okay.
But now with the game has changed. Now there's the Dirty Dan's run. Now there's the Aqua Vitae that's coming in, which is the tequila bar or agave, where they're having the distillery for now. They got the Crush distillery.
They're 17 years old, Joe.
There.
Come on, man.
Not all of them.
Tequila bar.
Not all of them.
They're just hanging out.
Not all of them. Not the transfers.
True, not the transfers.
The transfers could be 26 years old with a 7th year.
It's true. They could be older than the guy.
The high schoolers could be 20 and they redshirted twice in high school. Math is hard.
This is true. Well, official visits going on. And look, it is a little weird too, because like these summer official visits, there's really not a lot going on campus.
No,
it's just kind of
it's different. Yeah,
it's kind of dead.
It's a lot of football.
Yeah, but
a lot of football stuff.
Lot of football, a lot of photo shoots. Taronde Spencer, by the way, I did share that he shared a quote that ECU has the best uniforms in the state of North Carolina. And do we agree, disagree with that?
Without question.
Who wants to take the opposing side here and get roasted?
No, the Carolina fans are going to take the opposing side because they think that they can all of a sudden invent colors and put it into their color scheme that's never been part of their logo. I mean, no. Also, baby blue's bad. Let's be honest. Let's just get the cat out of the bag here. Just like baby pink
chrome
is bad. Okay, hot pink is cool and royal blue is cool. Baby blue.
The purple
Charlotte's
chrome
be
is
the worst,
undefeated.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if Charlotte's the worst.
The gold and green, like that's just terrible to me, man.
I don't.
Especially I know they kicked ECU's butt in them, but the gold rush jerseys,
the all
they
gold
gold
jerseys.
Yeah,
white.
the gold rush jerseys are terrible.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I guess green, like if they go just
That's
like
fair.
all green trimmed in gold, it's not bad. But like when they go gold on white, it just looks ugly.
Yeah, I
But,
mean, like how deep of a
absolutely
conversation
bad.
are we getting? Are we going to D2 or are we going to FCS?
No,
are we
we're
going to
FBS
D3?
only.
Because if
FBS.
we're going to
We're in the
D3,
six
Methodist uniforms are terrible.
Yeah, they are. But no,
That's
out of
a
the
pure
6
call-out.
FBS schools.
Out of the 6 FBS schools, I mean, I hate states, but that's for multiple reasons.
Red
State
is
actually
just like
does
a
do
bad
State-
color.
State actually
It
does a
never
decent
feels.
job.
They do a decent job, but it never feels cohesive. Like the number font's always off.
Yeah. Duke's just kind of plain. They're the definition in the middle of the line. Like, they don't really have any bad or good combinations.
No,
There's really
App State does
not a
pretty
lot.
good
I
with
mean,
their color scheme.
Carolina, like by default, because of the Argyle and Carolina Blue, will get prestigious rankings. But yeah, I mean, if you don't like them, you don't like them.
Yeah,
the
Wake
purple
Forest
and gold,
is
it just
playing, same
pops,
as
man.
Duke.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot of bad
big time.
uniforms in the state of North Carolina, to be honest.
Tons.
So we're getting way off topic here,
Yeah.
but I thought I'd bring
We
it
got
up.
to talk about
It was an
trade. We got to
interesting
talk about
statement.
MLB trades here.
All right, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll have the discussion. We're not going to rank uniforms yet, although that is coming. Bobby Harvard wants to have a uniform specific. He also wants to have a sports movie show, so maybe we'll knock those out the next 2 Fridays before our summer hiatus. When we come back, though, we're going to rank us personally the top 5 games on ECU's 2025 schedule we're most looking forward to. We'll also share some of your comments on Twitter as well. That next, Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game.
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, we'll go back in. Hoist the Colors on a Monday, June 16th edition of the program. Appreciate everybody joining us. We've got Joe Sampson. We've got Philip Pilkington alongside as well. We're going to get into some prompts now with our daily shows just due to it being a little bit of a slow time. And our first prompt was, what game are you most looking forward to for the 2025 ECU football schedule? So we'll run over some of those comments. We got 31 submissions on Twitter as of now, so we'll see if we can get to most of those. But we'll start first with our own top 5. Our 5 most anticipated games. And, you know, we'll just start from the top, guys. Just a really much better schedule this year all the way around. So I think there's a lot of good answers here. We are going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll each give our number 5 choice and maybe banter about that a little bit. But we'll obviously have some overlap, which we can discuss as well. But we'll start off number 5 most anticipated game. Let's give Philip the first shot at it here.
I'm going to go Army. I guess it's kind of hard to totally explain why without giving my first four, but I do think it is better to go 5-1. This is the first time that we're welcoming them in a long time to Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. Obviously, they were in a conference championship game a year ago, really good football team, and it's the first conference game, so it'll kind of portray your conference schedule forward. Excited to have it, and always cool when you get to welcome a service academy because you know that those guys that you're playing, obviously, it's a lot more than just about football.
We can only hope that it goes a little bit better than when Navy comes to town.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Sampson, your thoughts, number 5.
5 for me has got to be Coastal. I think the opportunity to go to the Teal, as they call it, I think that's a really unique opportunity, especially because there's so many eyes on that type of field and the conversations. I mean, people are still talking about the Mullets versus the Mormons when BYU went there on the Prove It week. So it's just exciting to me, I think, especially considering the longstanding heat that has now gone on between these two schools over the last 5 years, whether it be basketball, whether it be football, or whether now the latest chapter in baseball. I think it's just fun. Little rematch from the Birmingham Bowl a couple years ago.
I like that pick. Chuck going off that. I'll read any comments that really jump off as far as going with our picks. Chuck says the Coastal Carolina game so we can take revenge on them for ending the baseball season. So he's on the same wavelength with you there. All right, so my number 5, and again, I'm a little biased here because I will be attending most of these games. Can I interest you in 78 degrees on November 29th? That is Boca Raton, Florida's average temperature. So I'm going FAU season finale, and maybe the Pirates are playing for a spot in the conference title. But more importantly, I will be in Boca, and you guys will probably be here in North Carolina where it's like 34 degrees. So at FAU, and I've never been to FAU Stadium. So. And by the way, that's
for
the
my
same
friends
ECU
that went
plays.
last time. They said you ain't missing much, buddy.
Howard Schellenberger Field.
I'll enjoy some palm trees on the drive-in. That is the same way ECU plays in the basketball tournament. Michigan State and St. Bonaventure. So I have to figure out if I'm going to go down to Florida ahead of time for that. I might just be in Florida all week for Thanksgiving.
I'm tagging along with you. Get me out of the studio on Thanksgiving Day.
We'll see what we can do. FAU, my number 5. I don't think anybody else has them in the top 5, but hey, biased. All right, number 4. We'll go back to Philip.
Going with the Cougars of BYU. A chance to welcome a team that probably should have made the college football playoff last year if they wouldn't have shot themselves in the foot down the stretch. I think as long as Retzloff is allowed to play, which it sounds like he will be, this could be a huge measuring tool for ECU and to how good they are compared to teams that are in the top tier of college football. So, and anytime you get to welcome a national brand is always a special day.
Joseph?
Yeah, I got to agree. BYU is my number 4 also for the similar reasons that Philip mentioned, but also this is the opportunity now. I mean, we went to their house, we went to Provo. We got the BYU welcome. It's time to give these Mormons a little action in Greenville. Time to show them, chance of you got this aren't exactly the only thing you're going to hear in Dowdy-Fick.
I will say to our fans, please treat them nice. I had a lot of friends that went and said they were treated like royalty when we were on the road. They were given free ice cream, which we know that Airmark ain't doing that. But
you get a goodie bag.
Yeah, but still, they were treated very nicely. So let's not cuss out the BYU fans. They're not state fans.
Not the fans.
I echo that as well.
Yeah, I don't care if you're the players. Be nice to the fans.
BYU, great fan base. Media hospitality was amazing. Brazilian steak that we got served in Provo. And I will say this, BYU, man, that's probably the best road game I've ever been to. So I wish that it was on this list in Provo this year. It would definitely be number 1. It still might be number 1 for me. We'll see. I've got BYU higher on my list than you guys, so I'll save. We got a ton of BYU comments, not a surprise. But my number 4, gentlemen, kind of keeping with the theme here, I'm going at UTSA. I think, first off, I get to go to San Antonio. I did not go a couple years ago. They play in the Alamo Dome. Heard it was a really nice venue for football, even though obviously it's a bit old, but they make it work. I think it has a chance to be a really big football game as well, depending on what happens in the conference. But UTSA is really good at home. We have got a comment here from Ryan, says at UTSA to decide our home field conference championship. So that could be on the table if the Pirates have a good season. So I'm going to go with the Roadrunners on the road, my number 4. most anticipated game. That'll be right before my trip to Boca as well. So really closing the season strong with the road trips. All right, number 3, Philip.
And right after Boca, you get a fly to D.C. because we're going to Skins Broncos, supposedly.
That is true as well.
Supposedly.
Yeah. All right,
and then we got to
3.
come back for the conference championship.
Number 3, the actual team I could not care less about, but we're 0-2 against an in-state rival. We've got to right the wrongs. I got Charlotte here.
Charlotte. Absolutely disgusting that the Pirates have lost to the 49ers 2 years in a row. I'm trying to see if anybody – I know somebody said we've got to get revenge on Charlotte. So we got some comments about that, but nothing that stands out as I scroll through the list. All right, Joe, you're number 3.
3 for me is Army. I think the opportunity to welcome a service academy like that, but given the time frame of it, also short week, it's going to be a lot. It's your first conference game, like Philip alluded to when he had them at the 5. This is the prove it game. This is ECU, the new Harrell way is the way of the world, and that's what we need to do moving forward, establish it. Cadenhauser looked great against them in the second half last year. Looked like they had some kind of thing going with the JDB offense against some of those looks, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like, especially on a short week. Now, the only thing is Army is also coming off a bye, so they have an extended rest going into that game. Might be a little tough as far as that goes, but that one's always exciting.
All right. We do have a comment from Drew that says Army national TV, first conference game, and hopefully looking to continue a fast start to 2025. So, yeah, that'll be a big one right after the BYU game, as well as Drew and Joe points out. I'm just laughing because there's a comment about Campbell I get to read later. All right. My number 3 is NC State. I debated not even having them on this list at all because – I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that ECU just played him. I think as we get closer to the game and we get some of the in-state buzz, this could easily be number 1 or number 2. But we just saw them play. That said, it's still ECU NC State. It's still going to mean a ton. You've got the Pirates just beat them in the Military Bowl. Now you open as a 2-touchdown underdog. That line has moved down, I think, to 12.5. I think there will be a lot of motivation on both sides of this game. Dave Dorn's playing for his job, coaching for his job, I should say. He's not actually playing. I hope not, at least. It'll be a fantastic atmosphere, and it's a season opener. So, it could easily be number 1, and it might be for these gentlemen. All right, number 2, Philip, on your list.
I'm going to go Coastal. You make the biggest jump, from week 1 to week 2, however, week 2 being an FCS opponent. It's going to be a little harder to judge how that jump has been made. So I'm going to put Coastal here.
All right, number 2, Joseph.
Tulane. Going into Louisiana Thursday night after playing Army's second game of the conference. I think it's just an exciting matchup considering Tulane had a little bit of a down year last year, obviously, but that down year for them is still remarkable. The old coach from Troy who's took the helm now since Fritz left has done a great job, and I'm really excited to see the matchup going forward with Hauser in that environment, in that kind of conversation. We don't necessarily know what the offense is going to totally look like at that point, but it could be a Marlin Gunn homecoming game with 3 touchdowns. Tulane for me is number 2.
I've got Tulane number 2 as well. I think, first off, it's New Orleans. It's the Big Easy.
And you're going
I can't wait to go. Yeah, I'm going. Hey.
On a Thursday night.
There's a pattern here, folks. There's a pattern.
I love that you rolled your eyes like that. That was great. Razoo is my spot if y'all want to find me. Downtown New Orleans. I will be there till midnight on Wednesday night. So probably beyond midnight. But I'll be having a ball. I don't know. I don't know yet who all is tagging along. We got to figure this out. But I'm gonna try to. Make it work. I'm gonna try to get Corey Glore down there because, by the way, he's coming on the show later this week. So I'll ask him. How about that?
Okay.
But Tulane, for the reasons that Joe mentioned, I do hate their stadium. It's a bit it's good for them, but it's a pain.
No, it's horrible.
It's like a high school stadium. But Thursday night, national TV, you're coming off a bye after playing Army. This is a chance. Everybody's going to be picking Tulane to win the league. This is a chance to really show that you've got a shot to, compete for the American. Preston adds Tulane and Army to see how we measure up to top-level AAC competition after a season and off-season with new OC and returning Blake Carroll. So he adds This will show if ECU is progressing to be a legitimate AAC championship contender, depending on the outcomes of those games. So good thoughts there. Big game, Tulane. All right, enough of me going to New Orleans. Philip, your number one game.
I'm gonna go State. It's not just because it's State; it's more the fact that you just beat them in a bowl game. It's an in-state rival, so I think that's kind of the consensus I know on a lot of people's list. I think if we just did our one, I probably wouldn't have picked State, but because we did go through all five, it really is the big one. And it's the first one. It's the biggest game on the docket because it's the next one, so you got to have a little bit of recency bias, I guess, in that too, because at the end of the day, if you start worrying about any of the other 11, you can't overlook the first one.
No doubt. And I think if these two teams hadn't played the Military Bowl, it's unquestionably the number one game. Maybe, even that adds to it. Joe?
I'm going to shock a lot of people here. It's not NC State. For me, it's Memphis. I think welcoming Memphis at home with what most likely will be the conference championship in your front view, that's the opportunity to kind of put a big stamp on it. If you beat Charlotte like you thought you did, if you start out right against Tulane and Army like we think they're going to, that can be the game that will make or break or this season. This is a Memphis team that underperformed last year and looked insanely good in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Tried to get through that with a straight face. And I think it's just a really talented team with a great staff that knows what to do, especially in this NIL era backed by FedEx. That could be the most expensive team in the American. So just the opportunity to play that kind of team, it's always exciting. Last time Memphis came, it was a quadruple overtime shootout. So that's always cool. So for me, it's Memphis.
Yeah, I like the Memphis pick. They were just off my list because the last two times they've played, as you mentioned, overtime games. And really good games.
Victories, baby.
Huge wins for the Pirates.
This is true.
And I don't think Silverfield is that great of a coach. I do think he's a good recruiter, and I think money helps. Yeah. But I think that's a winnable game at home.
They have a great staff. Don't think he's great. I think they have a great staff.
Memphis is a quality pick. So no NC State in your top five?
No. Why? They're
important
like or something?
I like it.
They're relevant.
Daniil says, I'm looking forward to the back-to-back weeks in November with Charlotte and Memphis. Those two consecutive home games could determine a lot. My number one game is BYU. I just think
that's fair.
Anytime you get a top 15, and we'll see what happens with Retzloff. But, they open with Portland State and Stanford. I don't even know what Stanford's trying to accomplish with their football program, but that's going to be a win.
They're going to be 2-0. Frank Reich.
And Andrew Luck.
Exactly. That's all I need to hear. This ain't the Indianapolis Colts of 14 years ago or whatever. I guess it wasn't that long, but still.
No. It might as well have been.
How many opportunities are we going to see ECU continue to get these types of games at home? I don't feel like a lot, so a big opportunity. And I think they come in rank. If you're 2-1 going to that game, the buzz is going to be off the charts. If you're 3-0, God help us all, in a good way.
Grease the poles of Greenville.
Let's read some of these comments. I'll fly through them because I know we need to get a break in. Colby Dant says NC State. Chuck says the Coastal Carolina game. I mentioned that earlier. Bot says would really be happy to be 2-1 heading to the BYU game. Brady Thomas, BYU, growing up as a Big 12 football fan, I'm excited to see ECU play some big-time competition in Dowdy. Brady, you better be there, boy. Big game, Brady. Steve, the pissed off Pirate. I forgot I should say that. NC State and BYU, 1A, 1B. This is an interesting note, guys. ECU hasn't started at 3-1 or better since 2014. That's a long time. So would like to see the Pirates. If you start off 3-1 against the schedule, you're in great shape.
Did they beat West Virginia and Virginia Tech that year?
I think so.
That was the 08 season. 14 was they beat Virginia Tech and North Carolina.
Okay.
Back to back.
Yeah, sorry, it was North Carolina.
I think South Carolina was the only loss in there.
So then when we outgained about 300 yards and then lost at South Carolina.
Was one. I think it was back-to-back times at South Carolina. Also, the Mo year, they crushed them and fumbled 5 times inside the 10 in yardage.
Yeah.
Hank Hinton says NC State. James Gillo says BYU, NC State, Tulane in that order. Alex says BYU and it's not close, then Memphis. Let's continue to run through these. Gerard says NC State, this is a great schedule. See you in Dowdy. We'll see you there, Gerard. Norse Raider says, always love an NC State game. It's away, so it had to be that one. Bowie's Creek says the Fighting Camels because they have the best mascot in all the land.
Shout out Gaylord.
I'm going to say hard disagree, but that should be a nice mascot fight between PD and – is that really his name?
Yeah.
Gaylord the Camel.
Perry.
Oh, my God. All right. Cody says, I feel like the obvious answer is NC State, but that Coastal game is going to be a sneaky, rowdy matchup. Feels like we got a good rivalry forming with them in football and baseball. Nick says BYU has the potential of being one of the biggest / most electric atmospheres we've had in Dowdy in a while. So I'll say BYU, depending on ECU's record, go into that game. Sean with a comment says, pack out of the gate. Be there. All right. And a lot of BYU and a lot of Army from Draft Domestic. He says, Army, if I recall correctly, they've never won in Dowdy. Anytime a team is due, you play with a chip on your shoulder. That's just what we need, guys. More Surface Academies coming in, playing with a chip on their shoulder in Dowdy. And
thank you for your
Terry
service.
Long says, I don't get why playing Army and Navy is so hard. I play them in NCAA, the video game, and I load the box, and they basically never score against me. If only it was that easy, Terry.
Cool. Tackle the dive.
Tackle the dive. All right, we're late on a break, so we'll get on that. More on the other side. We'll get into the big trade in Major League Baseball. If you got any questions on the schedule, otherwise drop them. We'll get to them as well. This is Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Want fresh, homegrown produce? Then look for Peden's Junior Produce. Peden's Junior Produce, a mobile produce stand, is on Memorial Drive beside Parker's Barbecue in Greenville and open Thursday and Friday 10 to 7, Saturday 8 to 7, and Sunday 11 to 6. Choose from seasonal produce like collards, squash, onions, potatoes, corn, and the list goes on. Support your local farmers and enjoy locally grown produce. To find out what's in season, check out Peden's Junior Produce on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Harvesting happiness one crop at a time.
Live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Monday, June 16th. Really fun segment we just had. Counting down or looking at our top 5 most anticipated games of the 2025 season. We'll continue to have some show prompts going forward. We'll also continue with our opponent previews. We got Coastal Carolina set for Tuesday's show. Joe Sampson, Philip Pilkington with us. Matthew says, when you guys come down to Boca, I'll take y'all out to dinner. So, Matthew, appreciate the invite. Neither of y'all will be there, correct?
I mean, I'd love to go.
I'm going to say no.
On location?
Yeah, I'd love to go, but let's be honest.
It may just be me and you, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's make it a date, man. Let's do it.
Make it a candlelit dinner.
Yeah, we'll find a good spot. I'm sure there's a lot of good spots in Boca. All right. Luke Dover has a recruiting question I'll tackle real quick. He says, how did Jordan Avenger's visit go? He just announced he won't take his official visit to South Florida. So Jordan Avenger is 3-star, highly recruited linebacker out of Orangeburg Wilkinson High School in South Carolina. He has officially visited Arkansas and ECU. The visit went really well. Luke, I will say, though, I'm expecting an Arkansas commitment here, barring something unforeseen. But here's why it's really not the end of the world. Arkansas, if you're unfamiliar with Sam Pittman, very much on the hot seat. Arkansas also might have one of the toughest schedules in the SEC this year. So keep an eye on this one. Even if he does commit to Arkansas, I wouldn't rule out the Pirates. It's very tough to beat the SEC in recruiting right now, given all the factors involved. But I think anytime you get a coaching change, uncertainty surrounding the December signing period, wouldn't shock me if ECU stays in the mix here going forward. But certainly a successful visit as well. Jordan Avenger set to announce soon. All right, let's get back to our crew. Joe Sampson, Philip Pilkington. There was a big trade in Major League Baseball yesterday, and this was announced like right after the Red Sox completed the sweep, right? And Devers, Rafael Devers, like he's been on a heater. He homered in the game, correct?
Yep.
So
yes,
we'll start with a Red Sox fan. I mean, how do you feel about this as a Boston fan, seeing one of your star players get traded away?
A little torn. The tough thing is his on-base percentage is over 400, but the issue is now that we've pulled up Mayer and Anthony, which, I'm fine sending them right back down once guys get healthy, but, fans are keeping the pressure on the front office that just because guys are top prospects, they need to be in the majors right now, which is not necessarily true. There was just going to be too many cooks in the kitchen once Bregman and Willier came back. And that's the tough thing. This team needs another bullpen arm. They probably need another starter, which is what it looks like they got out of this deal. And I mean, we've been talking about it all year. There's just been this issue where they have too many hitters, and it seems like Raffy was kind of the odd man out. It's unfortunate because once again he was up there in the league in RBI and in home runs and all that, but I think this is one of those things where I'm guessing they shopped him and Jaron Duran, and this is where they feel like they could get the most for their buck. I would expect Duran possibly to move over to the DH role, and then the outfield fill in with Roman Anthony in left, keep Cedric Raphael in center, William Bray in right, and then our fourth outfielder, who is not good enough to deal and get anything worth it, is Rob Refsnyder, who's actually batting .306 on the season. So the other thing is Duran, you can use him a little more. He can steal bags 14 as opposed to 1 from Devers. There's a lot of times he goes first, third. A lot of times he legs out doubles when it should be singles. So that's kind of the deal there. My guess is those were the two that were shopped, and they were able to get something for Devers. Did they get the best? No. Do I think they could have got more? Sure, but at the end of the day, look, there's plenty of guys in this lineup that can hit the baseball. Masahiro Yoshida is supposed to be coming back soon as well, and he's pretty much a DH only. And he needs some pitching. This team's a good baseball team, but they need to be more efficient on the mound. So it is what it is. Somebody had to get left out, and unfortunately for Raffy, it was him.
And two, how much of this was it just felt like the locker room situation. I know, again, they've been playing better, and he's been hitting much better. He got off to just an atrocious start, which even says more about how
horrible
his numbers are now. Like, I mean, he's still right in line with his career numbers, if not projected to outpace them, based on his recent season. So, like, the salary dump plus the fact that it just seemed like he was not on the same page with getting moved off third base and basically being relegated to a DH-type role.
Yeah, and I think he'd gotten a little better with that, but you're right. I still think there's a little tension there. And two, it's kind of weird how Cora was like, well, he's never going to play third. So, like, it was one of those situations, like, with Bregman out, You know, you could have moved him more into that third base role, and you didn't. Now they've been kind of switching spots with a couple rotational pieces, guys in Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro, which are guys that are really good to be your 10th, 11th guy on the roster. But then when you do that, you have to bring Marcelo Meyer up, and now, like I said, the fans are going to burn the city down if you don't leave those guys up, which is stupid because you're plenty old. And, I mean, you're young, right? But you're plenty experienced, I should say, and got guys who are willing to hit. And your rookies are kind of struggling right now. So I say send them back down to the Woo Sox and just let them hang out down there. I know they're the number 1 and number 3 prospect in baseball, but at the end of the day, you got something good going on.
All right, now as a Yankees fan, Joseph, your take on like as a Mariners fan who has to see the Red Sox play the Mariners tonight, like I'm looking at, all right, you take Devers out of this lineup, it is a lot less scary. I know they can still hit, but like Devers to me is like the guy that I don't want to pitch to in any situation. I don't know. What's your take, Joe, on how this, you as an opposing fan seeing Devers traded away?
Yeah, Garrett Cole's ERA just dropped to a 1.17 next year. I mean, look, we had conversations about it in the beginning when we did the MLB preview, and I said the same thing I'll say now. You cannot, especially in today's day and age, be that obstinate to change and especially not wanting to help the team. This is conversations Devers hasn't wanted to help the team for multiple years. He was defensively possibly either first or second worst at third base by defensive metrics in the last 10 years. Statistically, it's like Jeter at shortstop. It was just horrible defensively when you looked at the numbers. But what he did was provide the spark in the lineup that people needed him to, and he did what he needed to do. But when he came out after spring training, it was like, I'm a third baseman. I only play third base. That's great. I'll give you 250 million reasons why you're going to DH or you're moving to second base. And he wasn't about it. And what stood out to me about that is Bregman was like, I'll play second, I'll play first, I'll play shortstop, whatever the team needs to win. And that's a guy, and not just because he's a world champion, because Devers is also a world champion. That's the mindset that the Red Sox really need right now, is to prove, hey, nobody's above the clubhouse. Nobody's above the guys in here. And that's what Cora was really kind of hoping to instill when he signed Bregman like that. And Devers just didn't fit the bill. What shocked me is, I know we have internal bias, but considering the season Carson Wisenhunt is having in AAA right now, he wasn't in the deal as well. That was shocking to me, I think, especially considering the guys that the Red Sox got out of this deal, 2 MLB-ready players, and then the number 4 prospect for the Giants, and I think the number 11, if I'm correct, Philip.
Sounds right. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Like it's a decent haul. It's not the Mookie Betts trade where you end up with Alex Verdugo, who was supposed to be the guy in Boston, and we all saw how that worked out. Now he's rotting in Atlanta. But that's exactly what you kind of needed to do. Like Philip said, you restart the roster. I just thought they would have gone after a young starter to try and develop, as opposed to a Jordan Hicks who has been erratic and basically uncontrollable as a starter. So he's got to move to the bullpen to be effective and throw 20 pitches a game instead of 70.
That's what we need.
And the other side of this is the Giants. Like, nobody's talking about the Giants side. Obviously, look, Rafael Devers is not going to play third base for the Giants. Matt Chapman is probably the best third baseman in the league. He's not going to do that. But the Giants, they're 41-31. They're 2 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the NL West. So they fortified their offense in a major way, which has already been above average for the most part. So I think it makes sense for both parties to an extent. You can argue, obviously, the Red Sox, but I think this is a long-term move for the Red Sox as well. And look, the pitching they're getting back is not great, but at least it's serviceable. And we'll see what happens going forward. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't expect either team to win a championship this year is my ultimate take on this trade.
Anybody want some entertainment? Just letting you guys know, Friday night, Giants, Red Sox.
Oh, there you go.
Play them
West Coast.
So either Devers is going 4 for 4 with 2 homers and a double and just a single that he decided to pimp because he thought it was going to McCovey Cove, or he's going 0 for 4.
Yeah.
He's definitely hit one. He's going splash landing. I can feel it now.
He'd be the first right-handed hitter to do it if he was a righty, but he's a lefty, so that doesn't matter. So I'm going to catch myself.
All right, we got to get a break in. Good save there. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Wrap up the show right after this.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho! And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, final few minutes here. We got Joe Sampson and Philip Pilkington hanging out. Monday's show. We were mentioning Carson Whisenhunt. Keep an eye on him just because with the trade of the Giants and the Red Sox, he would seemingly be next in line to be called up. San Francisco right now really has just 4 starters after the trade, and Verlander's on the IL. So could be up sooner than later. Guys, the College World Series has been ongoing, and Coastal Carolina just can't lose. They've won 25 games in a row, which is like, I can't even fathom winning 25 games in a row. ECU won 20 in a row that one year. And that was ironically ended by Coastal Carolina in the regional, in the Greenville regional. But at this point, I'm questioning if they're going to lose, Joe. I mean, they can pitch, they can play defense. This isn't the mashing Coastal Carolina team. This is the all-around Coastal Carolina team.
Yeah, it feels eerily similar to the last time they did this and went on an unbelievable run and won the whole thing. So I agree. And I think the pitching staff is actually better for this current team from Conway than the one that won it all. So I don't see them losing, especially considering some of the holes they've dug themselves into and have found a way to win and do the things Tennessee's eliminated, which would have been a huge piece for them to try and overcome, especially going into Omaha like that. And, you know, I just think especially with all the time these teams usually have to cool down, they aren't the team that I'm concerned about going cold with the bats. They have enough. They hit correctly. They have tendencies that don't make it like boom or bust. They have a good approach. They find a way to get on base so they're not relying only on the long ball. And then especially in Omaha, Charles Schwab is a deep park compared to some of these other college baseball fields. And I think that really serves them well.
What has stood out to you, Philip, from Omaha this far?
As a whole, man, I think it's just been teams kind of getting off their rhythm when it comes to the mound. Despite it being kind of low-scoring games, you think of Root being pulled early. You think of Coastal, despite how good they've been, they used 2 of their starters the first game. It looks like they're only going to use 1. And so it looks like the managers are just kind of throwing this thing together. I know that sometimes has to happen in college baseball, especially in this regional format, but it seems like when you get to Omaha, usually there's a little more continuity, and there just hasn't been that way. The managers have kind of had their hands forced, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as we get into what would end up being the 3rd and 4th game for teams throughout the weekend or the week.
Yeah, soon there'll be less off time between games. You're facing elimination. So as Arkansas Murray State playing elimination game today, UCLA, LSU, the winners bracket game tonight. Joseph Sampson, we're out of time, man. Appreciate you today.
You muted yourself, Joe. I don't know what you did. Your mic must have died.
I wanted to say thank you. They didn't want me to thank you. They said they don't want me on anymore. Thanks for the time, guys.
We didn't need any closing remarks, but hey, we appreciate it, man. Good stuff as always. Philip, thank you.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
Fun show. Stay tuned to Twitter. I'll send out another prompt after every show each evening to try to engage discussion going into the next day. So we'll keep that going through the next few weeks. Tomorrow we'll preview Coastal Carolina, the football team. Pirates take them on the 3rd week of the regular season, so we'll look into that. Opponent preview. Also discuss more of the College World Series. Get into other things happening in sports as well. We'll see you Tuesday, 12 noon. Thanks for tuning in.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show at 90.